So 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago now, right? When the pandemic first started, when all the news was talking about essential worker this, essential business this, anyone raise their hand and feel like, well, am I essential in this moment? Because I know I felt like that. That was also the same time where really crazy and interesting TV shows and streaming came out. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Joe the Tiger King. And then Jordan Peele happened to launch this sci-fi series as well on HBO. Can we just think about Jordan Peele and sci-fi? Crazy but phenomenal show. And there were two characters in that show, Christina and then Ruby. Christina had all these mystical powers. She could make things appear and disappear. She could zap people, she could make money appear, she could make literally anything, any wish that she wanted, she could make it happen. And she was having a conversation with this lady named Ruby. And Ruby felt quite powerless, that whatever she wanted to do in life, she just could not achieve. She felt like everything in every circumstance was swallowing her whole. And she's sitting next to this woman who could literally make any and everything happen. And Christina turns to Ruby in this conversation. It's like episode 4 or 5. At this point, I really need to go back and see which episode it is, right? It's 4 or 5. And Christina turns to Ruby and she asks her this question: who are you uninterrupted? I had never heard that question before in my entire life. And it became really like the center of this conversation that Pharrell and I had when we first met. When his chief of staff asked me to come and lead this really big, bold initiative to change the world of how we show up in the innovation economy, show out and stand into the boldness of who we are and our real, true badassness. And that was the conversation that we had. Who are you uninterrupted? It's a big, bold question. It's different than just what do you want to do with your life? How do you want to spend your time? Who do you want to be when you grow up? Because the quality of our questions determine the quality of our life. The quote that Tony Robbins says quite often. And throughout my entire life, when I sat there and I heard that question, I literally sat back in my seat and I was just like, whoa, I had never heard that question before in my life. I had worked for some of the top companies, Nintendo, Sony, the NBA. I had this really interesting career stint in my life where I drove an Airstream all across the country to collect 1 million smiles for Little Debbie snack cakes. It was a really random time of my life, but that was part of my life. And so I'd worked for all these really cool companies, and I'd never been asked this question before. Who are you uninterrupted? And so I'm turning that question over to you as the start of this genius journey that we're going to have together this afternoon. If nothing stood in the way of you achieving your success, what would your life look like? If at every intersection of your life, the light wasn't red, it wasn't yellow, it was only green, what would you do? Who would you be? What would your community look like as a result of that? What would your family look like as a result of that? What would your days look like as a result of that? And so when we talk about stepping into your genius zone, your opportunity zones, your zones of impact, all the things that we're going to talk about today, first you got to answer this question. If nothing stood in the way of me achieving success, what would my life look like? And you probably got to ask yourself a few more questions, big, rich, expensive questions, before you can get to this point. Because to live an uninterrupted life is to acknowledge that there were things that interrupted you to begin with. And so what or who were the interruptions that you carry with you when you walk into rooms, when you walk into meetings, when you go into conversations, that thing, that weight, sometimes that bag, those bags that we carry with us, or that baggage that we carry with us, kind of like a Erykah Badu bag lady, y'all know what I'm talking about? We carry all of this, these interruptions, people who said something to us or didn't say the thing that we needed to hear when we needed it the most. People that didn't love us at the capacity that we needed to because they just did not have the capacity in order to be able to do so. Business interruption, career interruptions, life interruptions, racism, sexism are all redlining are all massive interruptions. And so take the time to define what has interrupted you so that you can clear the slate to then have a life and conversation and clarity around what your life looks like uninterrupted. Because if not, this is your reality. A confused mind makes very poor choices or no choices at all. And so before we get into stepping boldly into the pocket of your genius, we got to clear the slate a little bit. And that was my personal journey. And so this was me quite a few years ago. I had done all the things that I was supposed to do. I felt like I was doing everything right. I was at the top of my career. I had built this amazing innovation center with my very cute husband. I'm putting him on the spot over there, Derek. And we had built this center of innovation. We had helped thousands of entrepreneurs get funding that they needed. We helped thousands of or hundreds of young people get into careers in technology. I'd raised millions of dollars doing the work that I was supposed to be doing. I felt I was on the right track. I was also building my speaking career at the time. I loved what I was doing. But I was everywhere and doing everything for everyone, but I wasn't being honest with myself. And when we know we're on that track, a few things start to happen. Burnout starts knocking on our door in ways that you either acknowledge it or you don't acknowledge it. And I was ignoring the heck out of burnout. But my body was telling me, like, Felicia, you need to slow down. So I was leaving Miami. We live in Miami. I was leaving Miami. I had to go to San Francisco for less than 24 hours, and then I needed to be in Kentucky really like that night, but the next day. Fly from Miami, and if you ever do the East Coast, West Coast flight, that's all I can say, right? And I go, I do the meeting's great, the funder wants to give us the money, perfect. I kill the presentation. I run back to my hotel room, just pack up all my stuff so that I can check out and catch my flight, because I needed to be in Kentucky the next day. And something in my body in that moment told me, Felicia, if you get on that plane, you're not going to make it. I don't know what it was in that moment. I feel like I knew what it was in that moment. But at that time, I was just like, I cannot question this whisper that is now turning into a screeching yell. But something in that moment told me, if you get on that plane, you are not going to make it. And so I call my cute husband and I tell him, babe, like, I just got to check in and rest for another night. My body, something just does not feel right. Raise your hand if you've ever been in those moments where something, you don't know what it is exactly, but you know something doesn't feel right. I call the hotel downstairs and I say, like, I got to check in for another night. I sit back on my bed, and literally as I sit on the bed, tears start gushing out of my eyes. They weren't tears of sadness that I couldn't go to Kentucky. No offense to anybody in Kentucky. It was literally exhaustion leaving my body in a way it had never left before. But sitting down, canceling what I felt like I couldn't cancel because I thought that I couldn't disappoint anyone. But the biggest disappointment is not being here for the people that you love because you didn't listen to your body. And it became the biggest moment of clarity that I had because it was the second time in my life where burnout had literally punched me in the face. And I knew I had to make some decisions. I had to make some very big and important decisions. And so the Big Leap book, right, by Gay Hendricks, was also something that had entered my life around the same time. And I love books. I have to love books because my husband has a whole library in our house. I'm not looking at him while I tell him to say this. And does not leave the house unless he brings a book with him, almost like a sidetrack to wherever we're getting ready to go. I love you, baby. And so I love books, but I'm also one of those people that will carry a book around for a while, read a page and then close it, read another page and then close it, post it on the gram, this is what I'm reading, but I didn't really finish reading it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Oh, I see there's some people that are guilty of that. Can we pull up some Instagram profiles right quick? And so I've been carrying this book around for me with a long time. And you know the saying goes, right? When the student is ready, the teacher appears. And that book gave me so much clarity in a moment where I absolutely needed to make some very tough decisions. Why? Because a chaotic mind or confused mind will make very poor choices or no choices at all. And the poor choices that I was making in that moment is I was saying yes to everybody else. I was saying yes to everyone else's intentions because mine weren't clear. I was putting every priority above my own because mine weren't clear. I was putting everybody else above mine because my body was not clear. And so it gave me the clarity that I needed the most at a really, really important time. And I'm going to share with you the full genius journey that you're getting ready to take and we're collectively getting ready to take together. Something else that stumbled upon my life at around the same time is Martha Beck's work, Body Compass. Anyone familiar with Martha Beck? All right, Body Compass. Phenomenal, phenomenal author, just a phenomenal human, period. How many decisions do you think a human being, us as human beings, make on any given day? Just throw the number out here. This isn't school. 5,000. Come higher, higher, higher. 60,000. Close. But above, huh? 30 to, listen, she's like, I'm gonna give you a range. You're gonna select me, Felicia. Let me give you a range, 30 to 50. The answer is 40,000. We make 40,000 different decisions every single day. What? Did you know that? Did you feel that? Were you conscious of that? 40,000 different decisions. And it's not just like, should I wear this shoe or that shoe? Should I cut my hair off or not cut my hair off, right? Should I blink or should I not blink? Should I turn right? Should I turn left? Should I say yes? Should I not say yes? Should I stand up or not stand up? Should I come to A-Fest or not come? Like, we make 40,000 different decisions every single day. And that's just the average human being. Because I know I'm not in a room with average people. And so entrepreneurs, creatives, innovators, spiritual beings make upwards of 60 to 70,000 different decisions every single day. But the reality is most of us have not ever calibrated our bodies so that our bodies can inform us if we're making the right decision or not. And if we stay in this place where we are chaotic and confused, making no choice or poor choices, we end up in this place of analysis paralysis. We're constantly looking at things or looking for a sign to tell us if we're moving in the right direction or not. But our bodies, like the book says, our bodies keep the score. Our bodies hold on to trauma, but you know what? Our bodies also hold on to joy. And it holds on to creativity. And it holds on to opportunity. And it holds on to innovation and happiness. And so I want to take y'all through a really quick exercise. Close your eyes. How many fingers am I holding up? You don't have your eyes closed. Close your eyes. Close your eyes, and I want you to take a really big, deep breath. And I want you to think about one of the most hectic days of your life. You were ripping and running, moving all over the place. You look at the calendar, it's completely full. Think about that day that was one of the most hectic days in your life. But more than anything, I want you to think about what just happened in your body when you thought that thought. Hold on to whatever that is, and then I want you to open your eyes. And now I want you to close your eyes again. Take another big, deep breath. And I want you to think about a day in your life that was disappointing. Maybe you disappointed someone or someone disappointed you. Something didn't go quite the way that you wanted. Your expectations weren't met that day. Maybe your expectations were too high for the people or the community around you to be able to meet it, but whatever reason you were disappointed. So hold on to that thought, but more than anything, what just happened in your body? Some of you may have gotten a tension in the back, maybe a frown. Some of you just frowned when I asked you that. Some of you, instead of having your hands spread out, you closed your hands. Now open your eyes. We have 2 more times we're going to do this. Open your eyes. And now close your eyes again. I can see the ones that don't have their eyes closed. Just giving you a hard time. And now I want you to think about the most creative time of your life. You were in the zone. Things were flowing through you in a way that they had never before. You were reaching your peak, a level of excellence. Now take a deep breath and hold on to however that felt in your body in that moment, and then open your eyes. This is the last prompt of this, because a compass has north, south, east, and west. And so close your eyes for one last time. Take a big, deep breath. And I want you to think about the most joyous day of your life. I can see some people smiling with their eyes closed. I love it. Not just that thought, but how did that register in your body? Some people I saw smile with their eyes. Some people I see laughing right now. Now open up your eyes. You've just calibrated your body with 4 different touch points. You now know how it feels in your body when things are hectic, or how it shows up in your body when things are hectic, when you see disappointment, when you're creative self, and when you are joyous. Now, why is that important? Because we make 40 to 60,000 decisions every single day. And the big decisions that we need to make around stepping into the pocket of our genius has to feel good and register in the body. But when you need to make your next big decision in life, like, who am I going to hire? If I think about this person or see this email or see this text, and every time I talk to this person, it registers in the body the same way, and the same emotion, disappointment, registered in your body is telling you, do not make that decision, do not hire that person, do not go on a date with that person, do not marry that person. Like, your body is telling you. Or if it registers in your body the same way joy just registered in your body is telling you all your joyous experiences align up with the same energy that you're getting from this person, this place, or this thing, so you should be making a good decision. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? All right, so let's get into Genius Jam. And so there's 4 components to getting to your zone of genius, and there's 7 components or 7 steps to getting to your Genius Jam. And so this is from the Big Leap book. Zone of incompetence is the first one. This is one of those moments when you want to get some pen and paper out, because you cannot expect results from work that you have not done. Your zone of incompetence are all the things that you do that you have no business doing. They end up on your to-do list. Some people are laughing like, Felicia, I have a testimony on that today. Your zone of incompetence are all the things that you do that you have no business doing. You are actually the worst in the world at doing these things. You suck at doing these things. I know, the language is getting a little spicy, but it's the truth. It's okay to say that we suck at things. Our educational system has taught us that the things that we're inadequate at, that's where we need to spend all of our time, our attention, and resources on perfecting that, and that is absolutely not the case. So whatever the things are that you currently do that you absolutely, absolutely hate, that's what you put into your zone of incompetence box. You do not know how to do these things. You are the worst in the world at doing these things. You actually cause more harm than good when you do these things. I feel like this is really registering deep with some people, right? Write that down in your zone of incompetence box. I also call that your zone of no return. You get absolutely no return on the time, energy, resources, dollars, people that you put towards doing those things. This relates to you personally and then also with your business. Your zone of competence. You know how to do these things. You can do them. You have a level of competence doing them. but it's still not the best use of your time, your resources, your dollars, your energy doing those things, but you know how to do them. Accounting is in my zone of competence. I know how to do it. I know how to count. I know how to read a P&L, but would I rather do it? No. Ask me to do it, it becomes the very last thing on my to-do list every single time. My assistant sends me something on Asana about accounting. I was just like, wait, did you send me something? I didn't see it. We also, in this box, call these things, I call them your zone of low return, right? You get little to no return on the time, energy, resources that you allocate towards doing these things. Some of the things that are in this box we also call a necessary evil. Who's ever used that term before? That something you have to do is a necessary evil. Listen to the words that we say. Nothing is a necessary evil in our lives, and whatever those things are that you currently do, you put in that box. Your zone of excellence. Your zone of excellence is a tricky one. It's also what I like to call your comfort zone. Your zone of excellence is you are really good at these things. You have a level of excellence doing them. You have a level of excellence doing them. People come to you quite often and say, can you solve this problem for me in only the way that you can? You say, yes. Yes, I can. But the things that you do in this box, you probably make really good money doing the things in this box. You could live and leave this earth doing the things in this box and somewhat feel fulfilled. Somewhat feel fulfilled. Say that 5 times fast. Somewhat feel fulfilled. But there's something in you that's telling you that you are not fully expending upon your gifts, that you are not leaving it all on the court by doing these things, that there's something else in you. And for some other people, this box has you in a bit of paralysis. You feel stuck. You know you could do these things and do it with excellence and a little bit of ease. You're comfortable there. But no one comes to A-Fest to be comfortable in life. No one comes here to be comfortable in life. You want to excel at the highest level. And so if you ask yourself, right, that are these the things that I want to do with the rest of my life, with my innate talents and gifts, and you can't definitively say yes, is your zone of excellence is not your zone of genius. Your zone of genius is your innate talent and abilities. When people say you're in the flow, they're talking about genius. Most people are afraid to bestow genius upon themselves because they think that MacArthur Genius Fellow needs to bestow it upon you or give you that honor. No, the world is waiting for you to step into your genius. The world is expecting you to step into your genius. The other part about genius is the best geniuses, the best experts are lifelong students. They know that they don't know everything about their craft, the essence of who they are, the pocket of their genius, and that's part of what makes it your genius. You have this insatiable desire to learn more about the thing that it is that sets your soul on fire, the thing that adds the highest level of value to each and every one of you in this room, to the communities, the families, the companies that we're birthing, the companies that we're building, the companies that we are a part of. We expect genius from every single person around us, but we oftentimes do not expect it from ourselves. I'll give you an example. So if you needed to go get brain surgery next week, God forbid, and you go to a neurologist and you say, I just want to meet with you because I want to make sure, I feel comfortable with you. You're getting ready to do the most important work on my body. And that neurologist says to you, when do you need me there? Next Thursday, 2:00? I barely made it through med school, but we're going to figure this out together. What would you say? Get the heck away from me. Or if you go to another neurologist and they say, you know what, next Thursday, 2:00, because that's what we say to people when we accept things that are in our zone of incompetence and zone of competence box. We show up even though we cannot do it for them. We show up and we're probably disappointing them because it's not the best use of our time and talents. But that neurologist says, you know what, you look like you need someone to be in your corner. So I'm going to show up for you. I'll be there. You might have to help me with the scalpel really quick and kind of hold it, but I will be there for you. We'll figure this thing out together, right? I know what I'm doing. I got a little bit of a success rate. Don't look at my Yelp reviews. Please don't go to WebMD. Don't Google me, but we're going to figure this out together. You would also say, get the heck away from me. Genius is about having confidence in who you are and that you can show up in only the way that you can in the value that you have. Does anyone know what the root word of confidence means? It's not a trick question. Y'all are smart people, fabulous smart people. What is the root word of confidence? Someone just shout it out. Confide. And what does confide mean? Huh? Someone said it over here. A little bit louder for the people in the back. Trust. So confidence, the root word of confidence means to confide. And confide means to trust. So confidence in your ability, confidence in your genius ability has nothing to do with bravado, right? We're not channeling Elon Musk and all the craziness here. It's not about bravado or arrogance. Confidence in your ability, in your genius zone, the things that will bring the highest level of value to you and everyone around you has everything to do with, do you trust yourself and your ability to deliver at the highest level? That is your zone of genius. That is what you need to step into the pocket of your genius. But genius and getting to genius is not enough. And that's where Gay Hendrick leaves off and Genius Jams begins. Because to just know your genius, but not know what to do with your genius, means that you cannot serve anyone at the highest level. And so if you've ever heard the term or the saying, your gifts must make room for you, anyone heard that before? But it doesn't finish. Your gifts will make room for you. Your genius will make room for you, but you gotta tell it where to take you. You have to give your genius a destination. What zones of opportunity, what opportunities do you want created out of your zone of genius? What activity do you want created out of your zone of genius? What income do you want to have as a result of your genius? What new food do you want to eat as a result of your genius? You have to give your genius a destination so it shows up for you, it puts you in the highest income value, it puts you in the highest activity value, and more than anything, the highest impact on this earth when you step into the pocket of your genius. I want to share a story with you before I close. This little girl's name is Ori. Say hi, Ori. Ori's name, and this is our daughter, Ori's name in Yoruba means consciousness. In Hebrew, her name means my light. I went into labor with Ori when I was only 6 months pregnant. I didn't even know that I was going into labor. I called my midwife, and my midwife is hilarious. And she said, you're either going into labor or it's gas. And I was like, ma'am, those are two extremes. Two extremes. And she's like, but just go to the hospital and get checked out. We get to the hospital and things start moving really, really fast. I was only 6 months pregnant. And I get into the hospital, and the nurse was like, you need to push. And I was like, push? I kind of passed out for a moment, and then came back to. And things start moving really, really fast. Delivered Ori, and the neonatologist came into the room and said that you guys need to go and visit her as much as you can because they didn't think that she was going to make it through the night. She had a 1% life expectancy. We get into the NICU. I didn't even know what a NICU was at the time. Did not know what it was, but it was one of those places that I thank God that it existed. We're in this NICU, and if you've ever been into one, it's very loud and very quiet all at the same time. There's all these ding, 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 dings, and bells and whistles and lights, and more than anything, all this uncertainty. And I get wheelchaired into this little incubator with this little human that could fit into the palm of my hand. My daughter weighed 1.4 pounds when she was born. 1% life expectancy. I'm looking into this incubator, and this little human, and I had no idea how we were going to take care of her, how we were going to help her go from 1% life expectancy to 100% life expectancy. We had no idea. And I'm sitting there in this incubator looking at this little human that could fit in the palm of my hand, and this nurse walks by, and our incubator is like the last one before the exit door. And she looks at me through the incubator, and she's like, oh, she's going to be just fine, and beelines it out the back door. And I'm like, what is she talking about? Because all I can think about is 99% chance that she will not make it to the next day. That's all I can think about. All these experts were telling me and my husband to expect the absolute worst. And so that's what we started expecting, because that's what we were told. Made it to the second night. So 1% now turns into 2%. We're sitting in that same seat, looking at the same incubator, at the same little person that can fit in the palm of my hands. And like, what are we going to do? How are we going to take care of this person? How are we even going to exchange our energy into this little person so that they have a higher sense of survival? I'm looking through the incubator, and this nurse walks by. She looks at me through the incubator again, and she's like, she's going to be just fine, and starts to beeline it. And I was just like, wait, you have to come back here. And I've never forgotten this woman, because she's Jamaican, my mom's Jamaican, they don't have any tag, it's a whole thing, right? And I pull her back. And I was like, you have to tell me why you think she's going to be okay. And she said to me, I've been a NICU nurse for over 20 years. And I've seen tragedy, but I've also seen miracles. And something told me to tell you yesterday and today that she's going to be absolutely fine. And it took a full week to fully process what she truly meant by that in this moment. When we are literally the smallest person on this earth, when every single thing is stacked against us, there's something innately in us as human beings that we're built to survive. Without any of the technology, without any of the know-how, there's a genius innately in us that when 99% of every expected outcome is stacked against you, you survive and you absolutely thrive. And that's what it means to be genius, that there's something innately in you. But more than anything, the Filipino doctor that created the incubator, that was her genius. 97 years before my daughter was born, she created the space, the container, so that she could live and survive, and millions of other kids can do the exact same thing. That is why stepping into your genius is important, because people's survival is depending upon you stepping into your genius, creating in your genius, walking in, running in, moving in, living in your genius every single day. Your genius is not a job title. Your genius is the essence of who you are. And when you step into the pocket of your genius every single day, absolute magic happens, but more than anything, badassery happens every single day. Thank you.